the first question, and the first question goes to Kali Gumapak.
All right, Kale, how involved were you with the community development plan process? And if elected, how would you support implementation of the plan? Be specific to each part of the question, please.
My involvement with the community development plan was at the beginning as a Kanaka Council when we met with in the original meetings in providing the mana'o that the community development plans needed to have and include the ahupua concept, of which this is where the village centers was able to be born from there at that time. And my support of the community development plan is as a result of all of the resources that have been listed. For example, pin-to-pin grading, making sure that these resources that we have are not wiped out when people come to build their properties, and making sure that we have the trees, we have the resources, the water that is there for us to be able to enjoy. Because this could be a major threat to all of us here in Puna if we do not protect those resources.
Thank you, Kyle. We need a response from Wayne first.
I was not involved in the Puna Community Development Plan. I've only read it and become involved after the fact. I've walked side by side next to Kali and Rob Tucker in marching over to the county building to get it passed without any changes at the present time. I realize that now that it is going into effect, that there will require 33 changes to county laws and regulations, that we'll need 4 new county commissions and departments made, and 14 changes to state regulations. But I continue to support the Puna Community Development Plan in principle and need further examination of specific areas to make it compliant with all county, state regulations. Thank you.
Next from Camille.
Thank you, Mike. I was small time involved in the very beginning, but my time became tight and I couldn't go to all the meetings. The first couple of meetings I did go, starting up at Kamehameha School. I support the Puna CDP. It's a great tool. There's a few things in there that I don't, and those that were mentioned by Mr. Joseph especially, and being concerned about the individual rights of what they do on their own private lands. Those would be my concerns as to address them, to not encroach on private citizens' rights. Thank you.
And from Emily.
My involvement in the Puna CDP plan was I started at the small meetings. I remember being at Paula Kikahuna's house when we did the small meeting, and we had little dots. We had to place them on the 5 different high points that we thought it was important to us. Then I remember going to Volcano. They had a meeting, I think in Nana Valley, Ke'au, Volcano, and I went to the one in Volcano. And then I attended the big meeting at Kamehameha High School. And then there were other meetings at Pahoa High School. And then I remember going to a meeting with Tiffany Edwards Hunt, my legislative assistant at Ke'au behind the Bay Clinic. And out of that meeting, we came out with 2 resolutions. One was called the Cultural Commission, and that was passed. And at the same time, I pushed on another one through, and it was part of the CDP, the Kanaka Code, being able to build our grass shacks. And so mahalo.
Thank you, Emily. Gary, please.
Aloha, everybody, and thank you for coming. My involvement was right at the beginning. When I served on the council, the 2005 council in which I chaired was listening to the comments of a lot of the people, some of the people sitting here today, that we didn't listen as a council. So when we passed the general plan, we embedded into the general plan this Puna Community Development Plan process. I was there when we started the first meetings. I believe that at this point, the plan, and I believe that from a standpoint of passing this plan, when we revisit it in the future, we're going to have to provide for amendments, I'm sure. But the whole idea was passing the plan. The whole idea was empowering this group, the people of Puna, to provide for input and to provide for an opportunity for us as a community to work together.
Thank you. And back to Kale.
The community development plan was really important. When we took a look at it, when I say we, the Kanaka Council, reviewed the community development plan, we saw and also talked with some of the steering committee members that in the resources that we needed to protect, one of the issues that they had was how they were going to be able to enforce and implement the protection. And so the Kanaka Council stepped up at that time to say that a lot of these resources can be protected under the laws based on Article 12, Section 7 of the Constitution of the state. It protects the cultural, the customary, and traditional rights of the Hawaiians to be able to do that. And we knew that we would be able to protect these resources based under that law. One of the problems that the county has is that they have not implemented any of these laws in order to protect these rights. The Hawaiian rights that we talk about will be the rights that will be able not only to protect the Hawaiian rights, but also be able to protect everybody else in terms of their being able to utilize these resources. And so with the Puna CDP, we saw that our participation, the Kanaka Council participation, would be critical in order to make sure that some of the, most of the things that were written under the Puna CDP would be in there. Because this is one of the major issues where the other districts. Next time.
Thank you very much.